Hey, my cat loving friends, it's Linda Hall with 19 Cats and Counting. We have a true hero with us today. Dwayne Hook from Get Me Out to Here, get it, is out there climbing trees and saving our cats. And we have a ton of questions for him. We will be right back after this word from our sponsor. Welcome back to 19 Cats and Counting. I am Linda Hall here with my gorgeous BFF, partner in crime, and all of the above, Rita Reimers.
And you're my work wife too, your husband says.
That's what my husband says. Yep.
Tell
your wife.
I'm so excited to talk to Dwayne because
I am too.
We get, you actually lost a cat for a while outside. He wasn't up high.
Thank God he was a low dweller.
We know how emotional that can be. Dwayne, you help a lot of people. How did you get started with
Welcome, Dwayne. Yes. How did you start?
Well, hi guys. Hi Rita and Linda.
Hi.
So I got started as just developed a passion for climbing trees, and that's a whole story in itself as to how, as an adult man, I got into climbing trees in my 30s. But I eventually got to where I was using ropes and harness and all of this gear and the technical equipment for climbing trees. And I just fell in love with the whole process of both the equipment, the rope work, and just being in trees. It's really all about trees for me. Honestly, it's all about trees. That's my thing.
Yeah.
Is big.
You're a nature lover.
Yeah, big old giant trees. But so I got this skill, and then I heard that, hey, cats get stuck in these trees. And I love animals. I've had several cats throughout my life. And my whole thing is to reduce suffering. Okay. And that's with anyone, with humans, with any animal that suffers, anything that suffers. If I can help reduce suffering, I'm going to try to do what I can to reduce that suffering. And I have this skill to climb trees. So I thought, well, why not? I just started climbing trees and rescuing cats from trees.
Wow.
And the very first one was actually on Halloween, which today is Halloween.
Oh my gosh.
It's your anniversary.
Yeah, this is my anniversary.
How many years have you been doing this now?
Since 2010. That was the first cat I rescued.
It's your 12th anniversary.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I'm so glad we're talking to you today.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So how do people find you and come to you? And
this is a great resource that you will want to share with people. There's a website, an arborist from the Pacific Northwest named Dan Kraus. He is a champion tree climber. And he started a website called catinatreerescue.com.
Write that down, Linda.
Cat in a Tree Rescue.
Yep, catinatreerescue.com. And on this website, climbers from all around the country and the world, I haven't checked to see if he has anyone outside of the US, but he has a directory where you can contact him and say, hey, I would like to be on the directory. This is what I would like you to put as my contact. And this is the area that I would like to cover. So then he breaks it down by state, where, whatever state you're in, you can just click this link and then you'll have a list of people in your area.
Nice.
That's amazing. So yeah, because I was going to say, like, how far will you travel? I mean, like, somebody.
Right.
You're in Ohio, right?
I'm about 3 hours away from you in Ohio. So yeah, I'm like, what is your radius? If I ever get a cat stuck up a tree, I want to know.
Right. It depends for me a lot. I've gone to Cleveland, which is 2.5 hours away. Yeah. And I've actually gone near Defiance to rescue a cat. And also near West Virginia. The thing is now I'm part of a big community of climbers through social media. You meet tree climbers, or it's pretty quirky and a niche. So I may not have met so many of these people, but we've conversed talking about techniques or whatever. So you have this big network, and usually I can find a climber in the area if it's called way outside of my range. But sometimes I can't, and I just have to go. Cleveland's a tough one. I'm so happy that my friend Dane he's in Cleveland now, and he's willing to take that from me. So
good.
shout out to Dane for taking over Cleveland for
Shout
me.
out to Dave. Shout out to
Yay,
all the
Dan.
tree climbers who are helping our cats. I didn't know this is a thing. This is like a spread across the country thing.
Right, and
Flipping
most
cool.
all of them are arborists or tree workers
Right.
who do tree work. So they have the skills to do this, and I climb with the same techniques and equipment that arborists use.
Do you charge for this service?
I have never charged a dime for this.
Wow.
And I always decline payment at least once, usually more than once. But after that, if people need to give something, I'll accept whatever, whatever they give. And sometimes it's pretty interesting. Like, I've been invited in for dinner with the family,
Aw.
and those are my favorite ones, when I get to, meet these people and see them interact with their pets, that
Right.
they're so relieved.
No kidding.
People paid me with beer, and one guy actually, he handcrafts fishing rods, and he gave me a handcrafted fishing pole, and I love to
Great.
fish. So yeah, it's
That's amazing.
who knows? I've never asked for anything, but it all shakes out in the end. So
I
I'm
love that you
too
said
concerned
if
about
they
it.
need to, because yes, if you got my cats out, like I had a cat
I want to
missing
give you
for
some.
close
Yeah.
to a month. It was hell. I
It was
mean,
hell.
hell. It's just, is he suffering? Is he dead? Is it, total panic. If you'd have rescued my cat and brought him back, yeah, I would have needed to do something for you to repay you for
He was a low hider. We found him underneath a house.
hiding under a porch. Yes.
Ah,
Yes, behind me. So yeah, then it was just a matter of getting him out, which there's the thing now. So Kismet knows me. He's lived with me for years. He loves me, but being out in nature where he's never been, he was petrified and I couldn't get him to come to me. Cats aren't like dogs. Here, fluffy, 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 and they just run to you, right?
yeah.
So you climb this tree. How do you get these cats out who don't even know you?
Yeah.
That's the trickiest thing. So when people call me, I guess let's go through kind of what it's like for
Yes,
me.
please.
So and back to how do people contact me? It used to be most all of my cat rescues were through the directory that I told you about. But then over time, people, be they Facebook friends or people who called me, my number has gotten shared with like a few humane societies around the area or around the state. Actually, some fire departments have my number because fire departments often get called and they typically do not perform this service.
Yeah.
And one person even told me they called 911 and the dispatcher gave them my number. I don't know how. I don't know how they got it, but up until I would say the last 4 years, it was all from Cat in a Tree Rescue. And then after this TikTok madness went crazy, I had no intention of being like crazy on TikTok. People have actually found me through TikTok, and I made a website for people to go to at getmeoutahere.com.
Yeah.
But so that's how it now a lot
Wow.
of people find me through different avenues where it used to just be that directory. But the way it normally works is I'll be doing something that I'm really enjoying, or I'll be, having an intimate conversation with my wife and things. I'll just be in a perfect place where I don't want to be disturbed, and I'll get a phone call.
Always how it works. Always.
I think I
that-
found you on TikTok or Instagram.
Yeah.
one of those.
Yeah. It was. Yeah. I think it was TikTok. Yeah.
I get a phone call and it varies. It varies wildly. Like sometimes a person's crying on the other end, and then sometimes I say hello and they say, "How much do you charge?" and or they just get straight into the dynamics are wild. I never know what kind of person I'm going to deal with, just like I never know what kind of cat I'm ultimately going to deal with.
Right.
But I have a spiel that I go through, like a list of items that I go through. How long has the cat been in the tree? Can you tell if this tree's is alive?
Mhm.
Is this your cat? Is it in your yard? Because I'm going to be doing something that you might not want me climbing a tree in your yard, even though someone's cat's stuck in it. There's these long lists of things.
Yeah, people are worried about their liability, I suppose, with you climbing a tree.
Sure. And
Mhm.
I ask if the cat's been vaccinated, like for rabies, etc. Because if a cat's been out for 9 days, I have to think of my own safety here when we're
Definitely.
dealing with these cats. So I go through this whole list of things and I request that they send me photographs of the tree from multiple angles so I can kind of see what I'm getting into. And I can also tell them how likely it is that this cat's going to climb down based on looking at the tree, the structure of the tree. Now, most cats, about 70% of the calls that I get are just me counseling humans on, okay, my cat's been up in this tree since 3 p.m. It's now 8 p.m. and they're crying and they're losing it because their precious pet is stuck in this tree. And so a lot of what I do is tell them, hey, your cat's going to be okay. It's only been a few hours. I've rescued hundreds of cats, some that have been in a tree for 13 days, 10 days. Most of them have been in a tree for 5 to 7 days. But about 70% of the cats I get calls for, if I can talk the people into just waiting overnight, the cat will climb down. And
it's hard for them to climb down because of their nails hooked this way, and that's great for pulling up, but for going down, not so good.
Right. They have to figure it out. And I've watched them. I've come to rescue cats, and then the process I use for setting my line involves me throwing a string with a weight up into the tree. And I always try to play with the cat first to see if I can get it to chase the string, because very rarely, but they have chased that string down the tree.
Really?
So we've gotten to watch them figure out how to turn around and do that backwards climb down.
Yes.
Yeah.
How do you get them in the bag? I mean, gosh, sometimes I can't get my cats in the carrier, let alone in a bag.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get a lot of criticism for this from some people and my bagging technique, because I actually show it. But you guys know handling cats, they're little armed predators, right?
Yes. Dangerous weapons.
I put my hand inside the bag, and it's kind of like a reverse magic trick where then I'll put that on the scruff, and then I pick them up to where they're just suspended, and then I fold the bag over them, and that's it.
Yeah, at that stage, whatever works, Dwayne, right?
That's
what I was
for me.
thinking. Like, we don't recommend scruffing on a day-to-day basis, like to grab your cat or to control your cat, but you got to do what you got to do to get him out of the tree. I'd be like, do what you got to do. I don't care what it is.
It's an emergency situation.
Yes.
Because we all know that if I say, hey, cat, get in the bag, it's not happening.
Oh, okay. Let me go.
Okay. Yeah, no. I don't. Have you ever had a cat you couldn't get down?
I haven't had one that I couldn't get down, but I have had to do some strange things to get a cat down.
Ooh, like what? I'd like to hear about that.
I'm only in the newspaper once for rescuing a cat. And it's so unfortunate because I rescued hundreds of cats, and some of them have been just amazing rescues that I'm so proud of. Well, I was called to, it was my birthday, and I went to Marion, Ohio, which is another like 3-hour drive from where I'm at. And it was inside a cat sanctuary. This woman, she runs a great service, and she has a bunch of cats, and one of them climbed the only tree in this big yard that she has. And this tree was just like straight up and then over, and there was nothing above it. And the cat was all the way out the end. So I was able to get up and like look at the cat eye to eye, but I couldn't get above the cat or actually get to the cat.
Sure.
Because it was on these little limbs.
You can't go out on the end of the branch. The whole thing's going.
Not without, I can if there's something higher above that I can tie into and swing out there.
Oh.
Okay, and that's normally what I do is I'll try to get my rope as high in the tree as possible, and then I can go out very far both ways. But there was nothing up there, so I was limited.
I am scared to death of heights, and even hearing you talk about swinging up there
I am too.
is giving me a little bit of panic.
So this is the only time I've ever been in the newspaper, and it was I had to perform what I call a shakedown. But granted, they had like a 30-foot tarp. There was like 9 people holding this tarp outstretched, and I got a rope right around the limb where the cat was and just shook it till it fell into the tarp.
Oh,
Nice.
That's my moment of fame, is shaking a cat out of a tree.
then
You've
that was
climbed
the
all these
hardest-
great heights and done all this, and it's the shake that got the attention.
Would you
Right.
say that was the hardest rescue you've ever done? Or
Oh,
just the most
no way.
complicated? No.
That
Yeah, just-
wasn't even that.
We have to take a
I've
break.
also-
here. So,
Okay.
about
Is it her
that,
15 minutes in?
just a few minutes, we'll be right back.
All right.
And we're back with 19 Cats and Counting and Dwayne Hook. Get me out, techhere.com. You were about to tell us about some of your more challenging kitty tree rescue.
Yes.
I'll tell you about this rescue of this cat named Ralph. It was during one of those Arctic blasts, or what do they call them? A polar vortex.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
it. Yeah. It was one of those, and where it was like 4 degrees for 5 days straight. And this cat had been in the top of this red oak and way out on a limb for 7 days.
Mhm.
And when it's that cold, some of my gear doesn't quite work so well, particularly like I use a giant slingshot to get really high settings in trees.
Mhm.
And so getting to where this cat was going to be nearly impossible, or for me, it would have been impossible. So I got as close. Actually, my wife, she's a climber too. She climbed up to. This was going to be one of her first, rescues. She went out to help me. This must have been like 2013 or so. Anyway, the cat wouldn't come to her, so I went up and I managed to shake the cat down to a lower limb that was a little bit thicker.
Mhm.
That was the plan. It was all planned to just bend this limb that he was on down, shake him into a lower limb, then set another rope and climb out to him. And it was so harrowing how far out he was on this limb and so high. Plus there was ice hanging off of the tree.
Oh my gosh.
But I couldn't reach him. And he's like up about 7 feet from me. And I thought he was going to jump, which at that point, I don't ever want to scare a cat out of a tree. I never want to do that, but I couldn't leave him in this tree any longer. So I pulled up my slingshot. It's a telescopic pole that extends to 8 feet. And I actually lassoed him with my slingshot and pulled him to me.
Wow.
And then stuffed him in the bag and lowered him down. But it was everything about it, the cold, the angle, the height, and just the cat was crazed. Imagine being sleep deprived for 8 days in the middle of winter.
Freezing cold without food or water.
Crazy.
Excuse me, I have to put Dexter on the floor. He's making this difficult for me. Oh.
So that was one of the most harrowings. But I've been in situations like that later on where I've ended up just cutting off the limb that the cat's on and pulling it to me.
Oh, smart.
And
So
hopefully,
not only are you climbing, but you're climbing with all of these tools and
You just took
paraphernalia.
that out of my head. You have to be an experienced climber. Plus, you have to think like MacGyver. You have to MacGyver.
Yeah.
Yes.
And honestly, that's the best part about it for me is, I love helping animals. I love climbing, but all of this for me triggers my problem solving part of my brain. And that's what I thrive on. I get off on, okay, the cat's never going to choose the tree that I would love to climb.
Of course.
They're going to choose like a half dead tree or a tree that's leaning this way or something, or too small for me to climb. And I'll have to climb a different tree and swing over into it, or all these things. It's all a problem to figure out. And it's very rewarding for me.
Do you still just climb ever, or you get your fill?
Yes. Oh,
you
yes.
do.
Right. Yeah, I do.
I love that your wife climbs too, so she can share some of these adventures with you.
Now she's a tower climber, tall towers, like cell towers, TV towers.
Okay.
And she's climbed a few trees with me, and she's gone on a few rescues with me. So it's pretty fun. And now my niece, this past weekend, my niece went out with me for a couple rescues. So
I saw that video. Yes. Y'all
Training the
have to-
future generation to
Yes.
do what you
Yes.
do.
Dwayne has videos of these rescues. You all need to go check this out because it's just, I hold my breath. I'm like, oh my gosh, should I, and sometimes the cats just come to you, like they know you're there, which really surprised me because that's
too.
not what we know about cats, that's not typical. Oh, okay, there's a stranger.
Especially when they're
I'm-
scared like that.
Yes, I'm petrified and here's a stranger. Let me go jump into his arms. But some do.
Yeah, most of them do. Most of them do eventually. And I've stayed up in a tree for over an hour waiting for a cat. And then there was some cats, I'll give them all that time. I'll leave them some food and then I'll leave, come back the next day. And usually they remember and the food's gone and they say, I think I'm okay.
Yeah. I'm
But I also-
hungry. I want to get down so you can feed me some more.
Exactly.
I also have a trap that I will deploy in a tree. Like if the cat will not come to me,
Mhm.
or maybe they're way far out of reach, I have a trap. I can set it up, put food in it, and then come back and they'd be in the trap.
I'm
How do
always
you
amazed.
stabilize the trap in a tree?
Yeah, that's a
With
good question.
rigging with straps. I'll strap it to a branch and just get it nice and secure, cover it up.
Mhm.
So the cat it's a safe spot for the cat.
Yes, yes.
I'm always amazed cats can hang on to the tree that many days. And,
Yeah,
and
they-
they don't die of starvation either.
They usually find them a place where they can get kind of wedged in and feel secure. Either it's going to be a couple of small twigs that just wedge around their bodies, or they get into a big fork.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. Cats are super resilient. They amaze me. After
Yes.
being around these cats that have been in a tree for over a week,
Mhm.
it's amazing. But they do get hydration, especially when there's dew.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
'cause
okay.
they will lick themselves. And rain is great for this. People say, oh, it's going to rain. I'm like, rain is a good thing. It's okay if it rains because now your cat's going to get hydrated through cleaning itself and licking that
Right.
water off. But yeah, cats are crazy resilient. I can't get over it.
Did you learn a
They're-
lot
yeah.
about cats doing this, or were you already a cat person?
Well, I had cats before I started doing this, but I have learned a lot about cats doing this. And
Yes.
they're all psychos, and they're all psychos in their own and on their own different ways.
Yeah.
I always ask when people call me on the phone, hey, if I were to, let's just play this scenario out. Imagine that we work together. I'll ask people this when they're telling me their cat's stuck. Imagine we work together and you invite me over to play video games or to have dinner. I ask, what's your cat's going to do? What is your cat going to be? One of those cats that goes and hides? And will they eventually come out, or will it be one of the cats that sits in the corner and just watches? And will they eventually come over? How long will it take for them to eventually come over, if they will? And learning about the demeanor of the cat will change how I even climb the tree. If it's going to be a cat that's going to hide and never come out, I'm going to just climb slow and quiet and not do anything that's going to scare this cat.
Sure.
But if it's a
Right.
cat that's already meowing at me like, meow, help, help, help,
Yes.
I'll just run up there to that cat and say, let's go,
Yeah, he's ready. He's ready.
Yeah, right.
Have you
Yeah,
ever had any try to attack you out of fear?
I've had one. I've been bitten once, and it was my fault because I was in a hurry. I'd worked 12 hours that day. I don't do this. I work still.
Right.
This isn't my job.
Do you
I'd work 12 hours. Well, this doesn't happen all the time, but I'd work 12 hours and it was about a 40-minute drive. And I thought, oh, I'm going to do this because I'm going out of town the next day. So I drove up, got my rope set. I was in a hurry, climbed up, and I didn't give the cat time. And I just reached out to pet it. I didn't even have the bag, and it just went at me.
Yikes.
I didn't wait for it to come to me
Yeah.
or give me that eye contact and
Yeah.
maybe a headbutt or something that cats
Yeah.
do. I went too fast and it bit me and just latched on to me.
Ow.
That's the only time though, and I learned my lesson.
Yeah. Change
But you got him
plans.
down.
Let's
You
move
got him
slow.
down though, right? You got him down.
Well, he was actually hanging from my hand, and
Oh,
I was like, blood squirting everywhere, and I shook him off of me, and he landed on the ground and ran under the shed.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It's not funny that blood was spewed, but it's a kind of a funny picture in the aftermath, right? Like,
Yeah, Yeah, it was
Everyone's
terrible.
okay in the end. Did you have to go get any shots or anything? Because sometimes those cat bites can be wicked.
They can be wicked. And a friend of mine, Normer, who's a very famous cat rescuer, he's rescued
Oh yeah,
over
we
a
know who
thousand
he is.
cats.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah, he actually got bit by a cat that put him in the hospital for
Yikes.
a week.
Mhm.
But as soon as I got down, I had the people grab some alcohol and I just started flushing it and flushing it, right?
Good,
And I did go and get antibiotics just in case.
good.
And it was fine. I didn't get
Yeah.
any infection.
Yeah, a
Cat
lot of
bites,
people.
those. Sorry,
Go ahead, Linda. Go.
All
No, I was
right.
just gonna say a lot of people don't realize how dangerous those cat bites can
Yes,
be.
their teeth are very much like needles and they insert so cleanly and come out so cleanly that they close up and heal over quickly,
Yeah.
which traps all the bacteria that we all have in our saliva under your skin. And we've seen major yeah, we tell everybody when we had the cat sitting business, it's like you get bit, you wash your hands fast. Right now, I don't care what's happening. Wash your hands with soap and water really, really well. You can put some Neosporin on it. Don't cover it, you
Right.
know, just yeah. It's their teeth.
Yeah, they're serious. So
Uh-huh.
luckily I knew that before I had this situation.
Yeah.
Do you have your own cats now, or you get your fill climbing the tree?
Yeah.
Well, I've had cats like the last two cats that we had have since passed on, and I don't have cats now. I found a dog in the woods about 8 years ago,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't plan on keeping this dog, but I found out she had stranger danger once people came over to visit to try to meet her,
Yeah.
and so she ended up being my dog, and I just love her to pieces.
Aw.
I don't think that no, she's never like went after a cat, but she's so devoted to taking all of my time that
Yeah.
I don't know how, if she would share me with a cat.
Yeah.
You
True.
probably
True.
wouldn't. Linda
Yeah.
has a dog with her 12 cats, little Chihuahua who thinks she thinks it.
That's why I was, yeah, Rita will be like, and your dog. And I'm like, that's not really a dog. I mean, she's a Chihuahua. She's lived with cats for so many years. She really has an identity crisis going on. So, but what you're doing for the cats, I mean,
know.
you're literally saving their lives. Is it 3 days with no food or water and they can go
Fatty
into liver
liver
failure?
disease can set in.
Fatty
now.
liver disease.
And
So
that's
yeah, I
almost
mean,
always fatal.
this is like seriously life threatening to them and then to their people. As cat parents, we know the panic, and you know, we would just be for somebody to come save us from that.
Oh, for
That
sure.
is amazing. And to think that they're all over the place, like all
Yeah.
these people doing this.
Right, there are hundreds of us. That's what I always say when people tell me, "Oh, you're so awesome." No, I'm not. There are so many of us that do this, and I'm just happy to be a part of the group of tree climbers that do this.
Every
Yeah.
single one of you is
Amazing.
awesome. Every single
Yes,
It brings-
you really are.
It's very gratifying for me, so I love it.
Especially considering this isn't your business and you're doing this for free and you're trying not to take, I mean, you're driving, good heavens, the gas prices these days,
I
just
know.
driving somewhere is taking from you. And you're just like glad to be of service, right? Like,
Yeah, I'll never ask for anything. So that's
That is amazing.
sometimes I may think, oh, I hope they help me cover gas, but I'll never ask. You know?
yeah, right. I mean, yeah. And I'm glad that you understand the need for us too, because yeah, if you save my cat, I'd be like, no, I'm doing something for you. You name it, right?
Yeah, no matter how
Yeah.
many times you said no, you would get it.
Well, here's the thing, you know, some people that some of these arborists may that climb trees for a living and they do tree work for a living. You know, I completely understand if they say, hey, it's going to be this much, you know,
Oh,
$200 or
definitely.
I completely understand, and I have no bad feelings for them for doing that. That this is their work. That they climb trees for work, but for me, this is more an act of love and enjoyment. I get my kicks out of it. It's fun. Like I said, it triggers this puzzle solving thing in my brain. But I would never turn it away because I've met people who don't have money, you know, what's going to say they love their pets more than someone who does. And I would never turn them away. And
Yes.
it'll all work out in the end. That's the way I feel about it. I'm not going to turn anyone away for this.
We loved you before we started talking to you, but I'm loving you more and more by the minute. I'm telling you, what you're doing is
train
amazing.
Do you train other people who might want to do this, but don't quite, maybe they can climb, but they don't know how to do the cat part?
Right. Well, I certainly would. And it's, most people have petted a cat before or been around a cat, but there is something to it. It shifts when you're up at height and this cat's scared. It's not just, oh, go climb and then pick up a cat. There's something different to it. So yeah, I think my videos may give someone an idea of what that experience might be like. And if they wanted to try this, they could probably learn a couple tips or tricks from mine. Normers, there's a guy in Massachusetts, Andrew Joslin, who also makes videos doing this. Actually, I'm part of a Facebook group called Whiskers. It's Warm-Hearted International Society. Warm-Hearted International Society of Kitty Rescuers.
Oh, I love it.
And there are maybe about 80 of us in there that will all share videos or tips, tricks, and things like that. So
yeah, because I hadn't thought about that till Rita said it. Climbing the tree is one thing, but figuring out all this rigging and how to get the cat and the traps, and that's a whole nother ball game.
Well,
right. I would love to
it.
train people to do this. I would love to. I mean, and I have taught a lot of people how to climb trees. And actually usually never fails when I'm out of town on vacation or out of town for work. That's when it's guaranteed I'm gonna get a call. I might not get a call for 3 weeks, and then I got a trip going up. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get a call.
That's not always the way, though.
It is.
That's the way. And usually I'm able to find someone that I've climbed with before that is happy to go do it. So
I don't know that there's anyone in the Carolinas who does this. I'll have to check.
Sure, there is. One of my great friends, and he has rescued some. He's awesome at this. His name's Patrick Brandt. He's around Durham, I think, North Carolina.
Yeah, that's a couple hours north of me.
Yeah.
And I know some other folks further south, and yeah, there are several people in the Carolinas that do this.
That's good to know. I'm going to go check out that website, and when we post this video, we will add that, and of course your website.
Yes.
Great.
This needs to be more widely publicized. We don't know this exists. I mean, this is insane.
Catandtreerescue.com is a resource that people need to know about, because oftentimes they'll just call the fire department and then feel like, oh, what am I going to do?
Yeah, when they turn you down. Yeah, I think they stopped doing that in the 70s or 80s or something. Yeah, you could get the fire department to do it for a long time. That's what everybody's known for, but yeah, they don't do it anymore. So
yeah, and a lot of these the fire department really couldn't do. I mean, fire departments, they're not tree climbers, and if they can't get to it with their ladder, they're not going to be going out on these limbs and doing all this crazy stuff.
Yeah. Have you ever gotten hurt climbing a tree?
Not for a cat, but I have had a couple of mishaps. Nothing serious.
Nothing serious. Okay.
Just the worst thing was I jammed my thumb really bad, but that's about it.
Yeah.
People think, oh, well, you're safe because your rope's going to catch you, but if you fall 10 inches and your thumb catches you before your rope does, your thumb's going to get hurt.
Depending on branches, and who knows what happens. And that's, I'm thinking, some of these trees, the branch could break off. We were talking about half dead trees. Those aren't exactly the sturdiest little critters in the world. That's a lot of risk. And especially when you're trying to get the cat, because when you're planning to climb a tree for the sake of climbing the tree, you can make your plan of where you want to be. The cat makes your plan of where you want to be when you're rescuing the cat.
I'd rather not go over that way, but I have to.
Right. They make it they bring the challenge to it for sure.
Yes.
I'm scared of heights. It's not something I could ever do. It's just awesome that you do it, and there's other people who do this for a living.
Yes, we're so thankful to all of you out there doing this. We often talk about cat lovers being a village, and it's like there's the vet, there's the behaviorists, there's the shelters, the people who are out trapping. Yes, and God bless you, the tree climbers who are saving our babies from themselves.
Any last words, Dwayne, that you wish people knew before they called you?
Try to keep your cat indoors. That's the biggest thing.
Amen.
I understand farm cats, and if I had a farm, I'd probably want a cat, taking care of my barn too.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
But it's the safest way is keep your cat indoors.
Yes, 100%. We agree. We
I
agree.
Completely agree with that.
Yes.
Dwayne, thank you so much. If I'm ever in need of these services, I'll know where to go. My cats are
Yes.
indoors, but you just never know when one might.
Yeah.
They slip out.
Well,
I
They
was
slip
gonna
out.
say, so are mine. And look at what happened with Kismet. Yes, it happens.
Yeah.
definitely. Well, thank you.
Guys, thanks so much for inviting me on the show. It's been a great
Thank you for
amount of fun.
coming and accepting our
Our pleasure.
invitation.
Anytime
Yes.
you want to come back on, you want to discuss something in particular,
Yes.
you have an open door. We
Yes,
love it
you
for
are always well. You don't even have to talk to us. Just book it. You got the calendar. Just book it. We'll be like, oh, Dwayne's coming back. We're so happy.
Well, thanks, guys.
You.
Happy
Thank
Halloween.
you.
As
Yeah.
you too.
Thanks, Linda. And I have to thank our producer, Mark Winter, for giving
Yes.
us the spot on Pet Life Radio. And remember, every day is Catter Day.